Good morning, YouTube. We are up early today. It is 8 something. That's early for me anyway. Shut up, cat. And we are off to go and get a DEXA scan in London. And we are gonna check my V02 Max. The only issue is I don't know if I took a whack yesterday in football or or I've pulled a muscle, but in this part of my rib cage here is proper sore. But I'm going to show you everything that gets done, all the things I'm getting checked over. So I'm actually really excited. I've never had this done. I'm pretty lean at the minute, as you can tell. So we're going to whack some clothes on. Fit I'm going there in is the new Blakely Apex collection, which is so nice. So I'll use this little vest with the back print, and if you can see from there I've got the training club shorts on, and I'm just going to wear this little t-shirt over the top, which is the same as the vest underneath. Right, and then the fresh, I love these socks, got the B on the front, Blakely on the heel. But anyway, that's the fit. Oh, and I'm going to take these with me because I'll be doing some running whilst I'm there, so I'll be taking these. I don't think I want to wear them around London, so I'll find some trainers. But anyway, let's get to it. Right, and then I'm going to take a little drink, pre-made to drink whilst I'm on my way up there, of just EAAs. And then I'm going to double up with a scoop of glutamine, just purely because I'm obviously suffering with some injuries at the minute. But I'm going to get this down and then get going. Right, and when I'm on the move, you know what it is that's going down. Ooh! Little oxy shred can, get the energy in. I'm actually so excited for this because there's a few times, obviously if you follow me and you've been on the channel, know that I've done a few diets and I've got pretty good shape, and I've never got the test done of how accurate my body percentages are. I've kind of just gone off biometric scales, which you all know isn't overly accurate, to be honest. So I think my biometric scales, I'll pop the details somewhere on the screen here, was saying I think it was 13.9% body fat, and I think it was saying I've got 24 pounds of fat on me out of that, so I think it was 67% muscle, something like that. But I'll get the figures back up and then I'll pop them on the screen so you can have a look. And yeah, I'm excited. My MyVitalMetrics is going to be quality. I can't wait. So yeah, let's go to London. And I think the guy's name's Owen, who owns a company. So I don't know if I'm dealing with him or someone else, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm just hoping this little rib cage pain eases off, but is what it is. Energy's inbound. Let's go. Right, so let me take these off. We have got here. It is at Salisbury House, which is actually decent. It's only like a little 7-minute walk from Liverpool Street for anybody that wants to know. So yeah, let's go inside and get going.
Exactly. So for the first one, you'll be stood facing the wall.
Yeah.
With your feet together. It's just your height and weight measurement basically. So just avoid touching anything. Look straight ahead of you. Perfect.
Please stand upright and look straight. Your weight is 77.60 kilograms.
And then if you could put your feet on the middle of those two panels, and then if you could hold these parts like that, 2 fingers either side. Yeah, perfect. And that will tick off to make sure we have all of the points we want. And then we have people sort of flying off the bed and having to work more for insurance, I think. You're a very experienced runner.
Yeah.
So this is where this conversation is a bit easier and more difficult in terms of what pace we basically decide to put you at.
Alright.
Because obviously we're going to increase in the incline, and that makes it harder.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to sort of 8%, you've had better days.
Yeah, right, cool.
So really, if you're going to look at comfortable pace, like a 5 or a 10k, what sort of pace would that be at, do you reckon?
If I'm doing comfortable, I would say. Do you want
like a zone 2 sort of element?
I'd say like a 5 minute 30 per kilometre. I'd say comfortable.
So
Yes.
That's basically between like a 6.7 and a 7.4 mile an hour pace.
Okay.
So what I think we'll do is we'll get you started at definitely sort of a 6 straight away, and then we'll build you up to definitely a 6.5 probably after like the first minute of running.
Cool.
Then we'll basically, I'll just see how comfortable it is basically. We've done enough of these to be able to judge it.
Cool.
If we get sort of some way through the test and go, okay, we're going to go up a little bit, that won't happen like right towards the end. We tend to do that sort of in the start, hopefully, so you're not just like having to increase your pace and go up to
cool.
Okay, so I'll just pop all of that into
Sound like Bane or something.
exactly. So if you're going to hold that where you had it, this bit's just going to pop over the top of your head. Some people think this is dumb, I think it looks cool. So I'm just going to put these bits in here, and then I'll go around and tighten everything up basically. Cool. So if you just want to hold it where it's sort of comfortable, if you don't want it pinching your nose too much. So in terms of how you're breathing, it doesn't matter. Nose. This has actually begun. Brandan's going to get that minute of rest later. Okay, and then after we're all done, you'll have 2 minutes cool down basically. We're just going to keep getting that recovery data to see how your heart rate drops and everything like that. Yeah. Okay.
Last 10 seconds.
Last 10 seconds then. Really
Everybody
well
got Brandan, last push, last 5 seconds, good job. Just flip yourself onto the side. 3, 2, 1. Good.
Bring that all the way down, okay.
Hard work done. Good job, smashed it. Done really, really well, really impressive result.
Yeah. So I asked you there, if you reckon you could do one more, we were seeing that sort of plateau in your VO2. So that's what I sort of left up to you, essentially, how you're feeling as opposed to what we're seeing. So we've got about 2.5 minutes of recovery now. All good, thank you very much.
Oh, cheers, thank you mate.
You're welcome.
How's that?
That was all your work, not me.
Tough towards the end. It's weird because it's not a natural way to feel like you're breathing.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was
saying.
And
when I was trying to focus on nasal inhaling, it didn't feel like I was taking in any air. It was weird.
Not getting enough.
Yeah.
I don't mean,
But it was good. Thing anyway.
Yeah, so just go through that and then that'll have all your data. In terms of everything else, you'll get an email with a link to a folder. Inside that folder will be PDFs with everything we talk through, okay? So yeah, take a moment.
I'm good now.
Rehydrate yourself. So, the first thing we use this for is just obviously to build a 3D model of yourself and look at circumferences. We sort of see how these translate more into the DEXA and the impedance scan we did. But it's just interesting to see. If you came and did another scan, you'd get another set of results and you could see how everything moved basically. Okay, so the main thing we look at the moment is any asymmetries. We're seeing asymmetries above a 1.5 centimetre difference. So you can see in your arms a little bit, but pretty similar. In the thighs, again, pretty close, and calves. Really nice and similar, basically. Obviously,
we want the calves. I think I'm not sure whether the upper left arm or upper right arm. I broke my collarbone when I was younger.
Cool.
So naturally, when I look in the mirror, I see it myself. They're not level at all.
Okay, so we'll see that when we look at your posture. In terms of this tab here, looking at your shape, again, if you did another scan, you'd get another set of lines here, basically just to move everything through.
Yeah.
We don't sort of spend too much time on this. In terms of posture for yourself, we'll have a side view. So again, we want to see a line go through your ear, middle of your shoulder, hips, knees, ankle. Perfect. All happy. Okay. So again, not too many points for me to make so far.
Yeah.
Really going to be the story. Are you right or left-handed? Out of
Right.
interest. Okay. So you can see here you're actually very balanced in terms of your shoulder level.
Yeah.
You sort of tend to see one dominance one side or another, but yourself it's really, really similar. It sits ever so slightly lower.
Yeah.
But that's just basically you use it more, it's a bit looser, essentially. But that is very, very minimal. In terms of this last tab looking at your body composition, completely ignore it. It will just spit out numbers based on your circumferences, which is just wrong.
Cool.
We did the DEXA.
No worries.
for all of that, basically. So in terms of the DEXA, make sure we grab the right one here. Okay, perfect. So this first page is looking at your bone density. So these aren't the clinical measures, we do separate tests for that, but we wouldn't really advise doing those unless we saw something drastic here, where we sort of see alarm bells, basically.
Cool.
In terms of how this is measured, you have a T-score and a Z-score. A T-score is comparing you to a male of sort of peak bone density, so 20 to 29-year-olds, similar to yourself, and a Z-score is someone of your age, so they're going to be very similar.
Cool.
Okay, 0.0 would be the average as it's measured in standard deviations. Okay, so where you're sat at minus 0.2 today, you're a little bit lower in terms of the bone density side. Okay, in terms of vitamin D, do you take vitamin D?
Yeah.
Okay, vitamin D, in terms of strength training, you do that.
Yeah.
Running. Okay, so there's obviously a bit of a genetic factor inside this as well. In terms of calories, if someone's a bit too low,
Yeah, I'm definitely.
then that can sort of impact it a little bit. Again, like anything, you can bring this up.
Yeah, yeah.
It just takes a little bit longer compared to body comp, basically. Okay, again, you're doing all the right things, so it'll be heading in the right direction.
I'm deep in low calories at the minute. I think it's like 1500 or on at the minute.
Okay, really?
And
Okay, so
45
that's...
minutes of cardio a day, so yeah. my body's like quite reactive.
How's your sleep?
It's getting better. I've got a dog that's got allergies, so I was up all night for her, so it didn't really help. But yeah, in regards to like, obviously when you say things like that, it probably does make sense that I'm on super low calories, and then my body gets used to something so quickly. Yeah. So if my coach adjusts and says that we started on 2000, I'll lose weight. 4 days, 5 days, and then it will just plateau for like 5 days straight. Okay. And my body's just used to it then. Yeah. And then it's just like drastic. And then, as he said, like where I'm fit anyway, he said like me ramping up your cardio isn't going to help you. It's like it's just going to make you more taxed.
Yeah, exactly. You just have more recovery time, basically. So again, if you came in with another scan, we'd really sort of be interested to see how these are moving, and then we would sort of have another address. But you're doing all the right things. We'd sort of typically go through into the vitamin D3, K2, enough dairy and calcium in your diet, basically. Cool. If you're not getting enough dairy, have a calcium supplement. Yeah. Okay. So these next two are looking at actual body composition now. Okay, so the first thing we look at is your total body fat percentage, which is here and here. Today you're sat at 9.41%, so really lean. Cool. Okay, really lean. In terms of what we see as like our healthy range, for a male that'd be between 8 and 20%, so you're sat right at the bottom. Cool. In terms of as a percentile of the population, we have this young normal, so that 20 to 29-year-olds age match, so it'll be very similar. Yeah. We'd like to see nice low numbers here. So for your age, you're in the top 2 in terms of how lean you are as a percent.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
This is why you don't listen to the scales at home.
Exactly.
My scales tell me I'm nearly 14% or something.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just absolutely
rubbish.
Yeah. So top 2% doing amazingly. We don't really need to see you sat any lower than that, essentially. Again, as you see with your calories, you'll just start feeling tired, and your sleep will be ruined and all this. Yes, exactly. Okay, the next thing we look at is how that fat is distributed in your body. So we measure something called an android and a gynoid ratio. Yeah. So your android fat is this A box here, which is the fat around your trunk and midsection, and this G box, your gynoid fat around your hips and thighs. Okay?
I feel like I hold more fat around my hips and my thighs, but we'll see.
So 1.0 would be perfectly balanced between the two. Okay. You're sat at 0.81, which means you have a tendency to store fat around your hips and thighs. Cool. Just as you say, as above 1.
Because it's always the last place that starts to look lean, like
when exactly. When I'm losing so that's where you lose it last.
Yeah, my legs are always kind of, especially my upper legs, are always the last to come in.
There you are. Right. So that exactly.
Okay, makes sense.
That's mainly genetic. You can't spot reduce, as you probably know. Yeah. So yeah, that factor is really sort of predetermined for you, essentially. The last number we look at in terms of your body fat is your visceral fat. It's the fat around your organs, that dangerous fat, if you like. Yeah. We would like to see anything below 100 centimeters squared to be in that normal range. Inside of that, we're not too picky at all. Cool. Okay, so that is this bottom value here, which is 44.6 for yourself. So you're sat well below the 100 centimeters squared. Visceral fat, nothing to worry about. Yeah. Again, that's the sort of the big number we like to look at, obviously in terms of health risk.
Yeah, of course, I can de-stress.
Exactly, so that is to do with your sleep. That will sort of increase the amount of fat you're putting there, your stress, and then alcohol consumption.
Yeah, I'd say I don't really have any alcohol consumption unless I'm on holiday, so that's fine.
Lovely. Great. So again, that essentially reflects everything you've been doing so far.
Cool.
Okay. That's what we look at in terms of fat mass. We'll move on to your lean mass, so basically everything but your fat and bone. Okay. So we calculate something called your LMI, which is your lean mass index, which is this figure here, this 20.4. We would like to see anything above 19.8 for males. So nice and happy, really, in that green section. In terms of as a percentile, where we like to see nice small numbers here, nice big numbers here. The opposite, obviously, you want more muscle.
Yeah.
So for someone of your age, you're in the 60th percentile, so the top 40%.
Cool.
Okay. In terms of this bottom value here, this is looking at your appendicular LMI.
Okay.
So we ignore this number here, but that is basically just looking at your arms and your legs.
Yeah.
Because it gets rid of your organs, essentially, which would come under lean mass.
Yeah.
Okay. And whilst we ignore this number, as I said, we like to see these percentiles close to, and sometimes in a well resistance trained person like yourself, above those percentiles, essentially, so you perform higher than where your overall LMI would be. Okay. So really, really happy so far. This page is just looking at your totals. Again, you come and do another scan, you'd have extra pages looking at comparisons and all this sort of stuff. So today you came in at 68.1 kilos of lean mass. And in terms of any imbalances, you can see in your right arm is a little bit more lean mass.
Yeah.
It's inside what we would have as our 10% rule, where we sort of say, okay, there's an asymmetry there, but it's just basically something to be a little bit mindful of. And in terms of your legs,
left arm bicep curls extra.
Exactly. And in terms of your legs, you can see you've actually got a kilo difference in your right and left leg. So your right leg is, when you play football, you're right-footed?
I'm left-footed.
Okay, so interestingly, I'm the same, where I'm left-footed and I have a stronger right leg, which is,
I guess it's like your balance, though, isn't it?
Your balance, and maybe.
So everything's on your standing leg, isn't it?
We see that change really, but it's just
kilo
the
difference
point.
in one leg. That's nuts.
So that is, again, that's now in our 10% sort of rule, if you like. So I'd say if you're in the gym doing just training, doing those leg days,
couple extras on
do a couple legs in terms of doing that unilateral work, like split squats, all that sort of stuff, leg curls, extensions, all that sort of stuff.
Extra reps.
Exactly. Just do an extra set, really push it till failure.
Yeah.
You don't need to be doing an exercise by itself, just doing top and leg extensions for that. But yeah, exactly that. Okay. So that's everything we look at in terms of the DEXA.
Perfect.
All makes sense?
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
No, smashed it.
Cool. So this one is the first one that we did, your bioelectrical impedance. So what this does better than the DEXA is separate between your water weight and your skeletal muscle mass, where they sort of combine a little bit. But this is where sort of pitfall of that is, it hasn't got it's not very good for fat mass sort of readings, whereas the DEXA is the best for that. So that's why we use both to balance everything out, basically. So in terms of your water, do you take creatine?
I did, and then I tapered off of it a bit.
Okay. So you can see you're sat a little bit higher. That's normally, you're well hydrated and you have sort of a little bit of history of that. You're sat a little bit high. Again, we're not too worried, really. If these balances were majorly off, we're sort of asking a few more questions. But again, that can come down to your hydration on the day. It can come down to so many things.
Because I did take creatine, and then...
When did you stop taking, do you know?
When did I go on holiday? July.
Okay, so you probably wouldn't see the effects anymore. So I'd say you're just hydrated,
yeah, so I took it out just purely because I drink so much water as it is.
But that's...
obviously,
there you go.
Yeah. So I didn't want to then feel like I was somebody that struggled to, like, with hydration, especially in my body. So I thought if I just take creatine away, see if there's any difference it makes in training. And like, not in my opinion, it didn't really change anything. Like I didn't lose any strength. I didn't feel like I was fatiguing. Nothing really changed in my body.
Recovery's still all right.
Perfect. All right, I take glutamine though twice a day.
Okay.
So whether that helps.
Cool. Possibly. So again, things like that we always are tentative towards going overboard, basically, in terms of where you can ignore that. In terms of your skeletal muscle mass, so I said where it sort of tends to separate, you can see to be in this sort of green section, you have to be above 31.32. You're probably not interested in where that border is. As you can see, you're sat well higher than that. You're at 36.68 kilos of pure skeletal muscle mass. Okay?
Decent.
So sat far more than decent. You could choose to be a bit more boastful about that. I certainly would be. Okay, in terms of as a percentile, that puts you in the top 1% of people.
Come on.
Of your age, all good news. This is just really inflating ego.
It's good. I've said this before. It's good to know though, because like when you look at yourself all the time and you do all these different diets, you always think to yourself like, am I any better than I was before? Where do I actually stand? I've never had one of these, and like, obviously I'm doing this at like the tail end of my diet.
So it'd be interesting to see if you come in at different times during those processes of those
I mean.
cycles.
It'd be nice to. I'm gonna
where things
try
change.
and focus because I stopped running after the ultra, and then I come back, and then I'm gone heavy, like bodybuilding style, like, and I've only been doing the Stairmaster 45 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It was like my cardio. When I come back from my holiday, I'm going on holiday on the 19th. I'm gonna go back to running.
Yeah.
And weightlifting, and try and do more of a hybrid approach, and see. Obviously, it might be good in 6 months' time to come back and see.
That's when people typically come in, twice a year.
Cool.
Okay. So in terms of those imbalances we were talking about, you can see you're actually a little bit more similar, really, through the arms and legs here. Again, I would take it as still maybe do the occasional extra stuff towards that left leg, but as you can still see, there's a little bit of a difference, essentially, but not as much as we sort of first analysed. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the fat mass stuff, just basically feel free to ignore it. Again, these charts basically summarise everything we've talked about so far. If you came in, did it again, you'd have another dot, and you can see basically where you're moving around. But again,
that's what we like to see, little high, low, what's that, low fat, high muscle.
Exactly, yeah, and increases in body cell mass. So great. In terms of this last value here, this is something called your phase angle, which is quite a general biomarker looking at your cell health, essentially, and that's influenced by how much muscle mass you have, because that's basically harder for the currents to go through. And if you have loads of fat mass, it's going to sit lower, and all that sort of stuff. If you've had massive crash diets, essentially, in the past, we can see this a little below. If you're like undernutritioned, all that sort of stuff. So it's hard to get, if there was an issue, what the issue would be. Yeah. But for yourself, again, sat in the top 1%. So really, really happy. Again, that'll be influenced by what we saw up here. Yeah. Okay. So really, really happy. Okay. Amazing. All makes sense? Yeah. So VO2.
Oh, here we go.
Exactly, the big number.
The big number.
The big number. If it comes through, which it will eventually, for the camera action. So in terms of test quality score, first we look at 100 out of 100, perfect score. In terms of the quality of what we did.
Oh, okay. So
I'll give myself credit first.
Good.
So basically that just means we can be really, really confident in everything that we've measured, essentially. I'm not just telling you that to say I've done my job well.
Cool.
Okay. In terms of your VO2 max score today, we got you to 63.6, which is clearly far into the superior category. In terms of if you want to look at our normative data for where those categories kind of lie, for someone of your age here, you'd have to be above 52.4 to be in that superior category as a VO2 max, and you're sat 11 above that. So you've absolutely
smashed it.
Yeah.
Oh, decent. Absolutely. It's good to know because I've stopped running, so I didn't know.
We don't see that drop quickly, sort of thing. You can maintain it essentially like you would other elements of training. In terms of your heart rate, we got you up to a peak of 185 today. We achieved that peak VO2 at 184. Okay. Perfect. In terms of your aerobic threshold, this is basically just where you can just operate for 2 or 3 hours really comfortably, essentially, which was at 118 as the heart rate. And then in terms of your anaerobic threshold, where things are going to get tough, you're going to start that lactate production, you know, your carbs are going to start taking over. That's about 176 as a heart rate for yourself. Okay. And so we saw you got to that point, things got a little bit harder, but we wanted to keep pushing you because you can see we saw we could achieve an extra 5 essentially, which is a big jump. Again, someone like yourself who's well trained and will have sat around here before, we tend to see that.
I also think I could probably get better than 63.6 if I didn't have a game of football last night for over an hour. And had a better night's sleep. I reckon I could probably have maybe pushed another minute or two, maybe a minute and a half.
Again, in terms of in terms of what we were seeing, we'll go through it, but we weren't actually. We'll just go straight to that now. In terms of what we saw, you can see in this last 2 minutes, we only saw a jump of a 0.2. So we're pretty confident that that's probably where you were going to be at anyway.
Perfect.
Really.
Cool.
Okay. So again, we'll sort of go back here. These are your heart rate zones. Okay, so again, zone 2 training, very popular, I'm sure you know about it. That'll be your 137 to your 152, really comfortable. Cool. So you can put these into your watch, into the workout setting on Apple, Strava, whatever you use, and then that'll actually adjust it to what you actually want now, rather than using its formula, basically, to figure that out. In terms of your zone 3, again, you're getting similar sort of benefits. Zone 2 is just a little bit more taxing, as we sort of tend to see. You'd rather you be down here because you're getting the same benefits, and you're just going to have more.
It's good to know because, like, when I'm doing my cardio, my coach wants me to be around 140 to 150 for 45 minutes.
Perfect.
But then, like, sometimes my watch, when I'm at 150, it's put me into the zone 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I don't feel like it's that taxing.
Yeah, you can put those in. They vary a little bit in the settings, but it's pretty straightforward. In terms of your zone 4, again, that's sort of just before we're going to reach this anaerobic threshold. We would sort of see your zone 4s as sort of kind of no man's land really, and kind of train, and you're not getting the benefits of what you would see in a zone 5, and you're not getting any of the benefits you want to see in zone 2. So it's just going to be taxing for not the best reason,
no reason.
essentially.
Yeah.
Right, and then you can see RA at the speed, the incline you're at the time, and then the calories you can be expected to burn per hour during each zone.
So like when I'm running, like say for instance when I go back into running, do I mainly want to focus on between like zone 2?
I would say sort of in a sort of 70-80 kind of rule, in terms of 70-80% of work being zone 2.
Yeah.
And because you can do that for a long time, that's where you're going to build sort of your aerobic base.
Yeah.
Sort of buzzword at the moment. And in terms of 1 or 2 sessions a week of that zone 5. So that's making sure you fuel yourself with carbs for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll just pass out.
Because sometimes like when I was doing like, especially like the training I was doing for the running specifically, like obviously a lot of the time I was probably in zone 3 when I look at it. Obviously,
and so you can,
and it's like I then didn't feel like I was getting any faster or any fitter. I didn't feel like my numbers were changing overall. Again, so it's good to know that, and then I can go back and put these into.
So I definitely pop them in and then go from there, because as I said,
more accurate than what Apple's was telling me that I'm in zone 3 and 4. I'm probably not,
because that will just go off the formula of what it perceives your max heart rate as, and then work out 90% your zone 5, 80%, and it's just.
And it'll probably like give me more accurate, as you see there when it says like the calories per hour burned and stuff. Like, because sometimes I look at my watch and think like yesterday I burnt 2,100 calories. So I was thinking I highly doubt that.
Exactly. So in terms of this graph here, this is what we were looking at on the laptop in real time. So when we were looking for that crossover of that oxygen in the green and the CO2 in that red, that's what we were looking for basically. And from there, we're sort of really just trying to push you to as much as we can see. You can see that your oxygen kept climbing after that. Some people that sort of just tends to kind of flatline a little bit, as you say, but we thought we'd keep pushing you to get a higher score essentially, and you can see your heart rate was still going up as well. Okay, just a quick summary of that. This is a breakdown basically of everything that the machine essentially records, and therefore what all that data transpires as in terms of the stage, the time, the heart rate, the incline speed, etc.
They're not quite steady, didn't it?
Yeah, so that's why we take you through those stages, is to get, so then we can work you through nice and smoothly, get your zones exactly where we want you to be, etc. And it's going to break down everything here. In terms of the number I would sort of look at, this one here is basically just looking at your lung capacity. Yeah. Which is, we don't have the normal data, but I can sort of say anecdotally, really nice and high. Yeah. Really nice and high. Again, you can sort of see how that changes a little bit the next time. In terms of the rest of this data, that is put into here, which is looking at your fuel utilization now. So how you burn your fat calories, which are the purple bars, and your carbohydrate calories, which are your yellow bars. Okay, so from here, the first thing we tend to look at is what your fat max would be. Yeah. So the heart rate at which you're burning the most amount of fat calories, which for you would be at a 127. I would say it's possibly a little bit in between your 113 and your 127, because you can see you're actually going to start burning a little bit of carb here.
All right, cool. So it's good to know. So then when I go on a run, if I want to focus on using fat as a fuel source, as opposed to then hitting fatigue, if I stay probably around like 120. Yeah,
exactly. Do you do a lot of fasted cardio at all?
Mainly fasted.
Okay.
Because I ideally don't really like having a full stomach.
Yeah.
Like obviously if I'm going to do a long run, like over 10k plus, then I'll just carb up heavy the night before. Okay. And then I'll take, obviously.
So that's where you can see a little bit of influence here, because in your zone 2, which was from about 137, you can see that you do tend to tap into your carbs quite early, generally speaking. We would like to see, for a lot of your zone 2, as a perfect athlete, if you can imagine, that you're mainly still using these fat. So basically your body just is carb dominant, sort of thing, so to speak. So again, some of those fasted runs where you're doing that zone 2 work, you could probably do fasted if you wanted to. But again, once you start going to interval training, HIIT, all that sort of stuff,
have a breakfast,
fuel yourself with carbs, because you're going to be up here and you're not going to burn any fat, and you're not going to have the carbs to do so, and you're just going to absolutely
plummet.
Kaput.
Right, no, that's amazing.
Essentially,
it's good to know. I wish I kind of had this done before I went and done like my marathon and then the ultra that I did. Obviously, I'm not saying I'll never do another one again. So now, hopefully, you've
got the data to do so, basically. So again, in terms of what we like to look for is, again, a nice smooth takeover, which you have, which is nice. You have your fat starting falling off a cliff which you can tend to see.
Yeah.
And again, that's you could take over here, where you're actually going to start burning carbs at around a 147, which is still, interestingly, in your zone 2. Okay, which is
mad, isn't
it's
it?
early.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very early. So again, maybe some of that fasted cardio on those zone 2 chilled runs where you're not pushing yourself.
Just a little bit of carbs.
Just very small amount. You can do them fasted, and you'll be fine because you're not like your heart rate's not going to be high.
Cool. Basically,
you can do that. So, but not to. There's a sort of a line basically between choosing to exercise and do cardio for fat burn or choosing to do it for performance. Yeah. Essentially.
So the stuff I'm doing for fat burn is at the minute, which is, and I'm meant to be staying around 140, and I've been doing that fasted on the Stairmaster.
Okay.
So should I really be having something before that?
No, that's fine. If you're sticking around 140, that's in your zone 2, do that fasted, absolutely. And the more you do that, the more time you operate at any heart rate, the more you'll see these purple bars come up in as a blanket sort of rule.
Cool.
Your body will become more efficient at that heart rate, and therefore you'll be burning more carbs. So you see in these, like, you know, people who are setting crazy records and all this sort of stuff, there's just purple bars.
All right, cool.
But yeah, again, that sort of 1.0 that we're looking for, we're talking about that crossover, that's where you're sort of sat around here. Okay?
Cool.
Where that carb take happens. Yeah,
perfect.
That's everything we really need to go through, unless you want to go through some calorie stuff.
Yeah, maybe, might be interesting to know.
Cool. So, do you know how... John, we'll just go through this anyway. So this is on our website. Yeah. This is through the resources tab, and then you press the total daily energy needs calculator.
Cool.
And this is basically our own
TD setup.
Because we don't like lots of the other ones. Essentially.
They all give you different figures, don't they, when you do it online.
So the main point from this is, unlike other ones, we can use, if you had done an RMR as well, rest of the we could use this value, but we can also use your DEXA to get your lean mass, so 68. And that's going to make it far more accurate in choosing your height and weight, obviously. Cool. Which is where a lot of them fall. So in terms of your resting metabolic rate, your basal metabolic rate, that's the amount of calories you burn doing absolutely nothing. But your homeostasis, breathing, immune system, all that stuff that's just keeping you ticking is around 1850. Okay? So where you're eating below that now, we would generally say don't go below that for an extended period of time at all, because your sleep's just going to get ruined, your metabolism is going to get ruined eventually. And in terms of where you want to perform, in terms of at a peak, you're not going to be able to do that.
I think when I come back, I'm definitely smashing up the calories.
So 1500 is low. Okay, so this is essentially now just a question about your activity. Cool. So in terms of work, would you describe that as sedentary? Would you say partly active? Partly active. This can tend to kind of overestimate's the wrong word, but that'd be about 50% seated and 50% moving around. So not just standing, like you're quite busy. In the day. So
to be fair, like with modelling, because I don't work 5 times a week. Like it's you could probably put that but then again, like I'm up with the dog.
So that's going to come into your steps.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right, perfect. Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Okay, cool. In terms of hours per week, in terms of work, do you know how much that is? Does it change? Does it vary?
It changes massively.
So if you think about this on average,
let's say.
And again, per week, if you want to come in here and go onto our website and do this, you can go in and have another look. Basically,
so I'd say like 16.
Okay, 16. Nice.
A couple of days a week. Because that's roughly what it is, I'd say, like 2 days a week maybe.
Cool. In terms of sleep, on average, how many hours a night do you reckon?
6.
Okay.
If I'm lucky at the minute.
Okay, try bump that up, you'll know. Again, I'm telling you, I don't want...
No, that's good.
In terms of steps per day, on average?
12,500 at the minute.
Lovely.
It's just been bumped up to 14,000, but...
So if you think about this,
yesterday,
if you think about this as a plan for going forwards, do you want to stick it at 14 or do you want to leave it at 12.5?
12.5, because I don't think I'm going to be at 14 for long. I think it's just it was either that or food, so I was like, more steps. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. In terms of cardio, we may look at your 2 main sources of cardio. At the moment, what's that looking like? Is it running mainly? Is it Stairmaster?
Stairmaster, yeah.
And how many minutes is that per week?
45.
Would you say?
45 minutes per day. So.
Okay. Well, let's take it.
45 times 7. 35. Oh, that's 35. I didn't want to play ball. 45 times 7.
315.
315.
That's a lot of minutes.
It's a lot of stepping, mate.
Yeah, man.
And them steps don't...
That's basically Everest by the time you're at the end of the week.
I found the Burj Khalifa on the thing. But it said, my coach, he said that I can't have the stairs that I do on the Stairmaster don't count towards my daily steps.
Really?
Cardio steps and daily steps are separate. So yeah.
Okay, I'm not here to.
Yeah. In the trenches, mate. That's
yeah.
Do you want to go up high in incline? I'm like, yeah.
He's looking for you to say yes. In terms of do you do any other sort of form of cardio at the moment?
Football.
Okay,
yeah.
so we'll just put that. We don't have the thing for that. Is that about?
Do moderate, yeah. I wouldn't say it was like intense. And then at 90 and then another hour or so. Yeah, maybe. 190. Yeah.
You're playing every minute, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
I'm with you. In terms of resistance work, anything at the moment in terms of weight training?
Yeah,
again,
weight training.
Plan going forward.
5 days a week.
Okay. How long for each time?
An hour session.
Okay.
Give or take.
It's about 300.
Yeah.
It's a bit and then in terms of doing any stretching, any yoga or anything like that?
I just do moderate stretching. I don't do no yoga, but I do stretch because my hips are starting to lock up again.
Yeah. Yeah, hip flexors just.
Hip flexors.
That's what my calves and my hip flexors are always just ruined in pieces.
Yeah, it's mainly my hips, purely probably from running.
Minutes per week?
Probably.
Again, we don't have to be.
I'd probably say like 7. I don't know.
Do you want to stick the calculator on again?
Yeah. I've got like prep brain. Nothing seems to work. I'd say like 15 minutes. 3 times a week.
Okay.
So yeah, 45.
Yeah, the calculator was probably a bit ambitious.
Yeah.
Okay, again, if you want to come in and read all this, just go into the website. You can change it again. You sound like you have quite a cyclical life, essentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In terms of, I'm messing with the break again, about 1850. And in terms of what this reckons your total daily energy expenditure is at, that's around 3,500.
Jesus Christ.
That's extremely high.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. I would tend to say, would you think you hit about that? Or do you think that's ambitious?
I'd say probably, so that's including my...
Everything, the
day. Yeah,
the
so
day.
like, I'm averaging...
What does your watch say out of interest?
My watch says anything from 1,000 to 2,000 a day.
Okay, so we're probably there.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty bang on, I'm guessing, with my total daily energy expenditure.
Yeah. So we'll put in a custom thing for yourself. So now we'll basically just stick all of those numbers into some more numbers. Do you have a goal going forward in terms of body composition? That's really what we're going to start looking at now, or is that for you and your coach to to go over?
No, to be fair, I'm quite like a solo person anyway. I used him more as like, because I trained with him before and he got me mad shredded.
Yeah.
Probably leaner than I am now, to be fair.
Okay.
And I find it very difficult to hold myself accountable when I'm doing a holiday, because I'm like, what's this cookie?
The reason why people come here as well, right, is accountability. Is a massive part of it.
I think it'd be nice to know, like, obviously I sit down and digest it all and go through and see what areas. I thought one of my areas of improvement was going to be my V02 Max.
Okay.
Purely because obviously, like, it must be psychological, because obviously when I'm thinking about like running and then going and then stop running, I'm thinking, well, I haven't run for X amount of time. So in my head I'm thinking, well, the weightlifting side of it and the lean muscle should be fine because I train all the time. I don't run anymore, so surely that's going to taper off a bit. But now I'm in a bit of a no man's land in regards to
priority.
What do I prioritise? I thought I'd come back from holiday and running was going to be a priority and I was going to have to focus on getting my VO2 max up. That's not the case.
No.
I don't know, what would you recommend?
Again, really, we're fine-tuning in terms of, the results here have been excellent, like I will say. Yeah. So again, for me, I don't think you need to get any leaner. Absolutely not.
No.
I don't think you need to, personally, I don't think you should be eating 1,500 calories. No. I think that's
ridiculous at the minute,
yeah, we'll use your words. Attack another coach. But yeah, I think that's the fact you're below that 1,800s.
Yeah.
And anyway is I don't agree with.
Yeah.
And outside of the activity you're doing as well is really low, especially as your body's going to think it wants to hold on to that fat. It hasn't done.
Yeah.
But if you keep it that extended period of time, it's going to hold on to it and then go, I'll have some muscle. Thanks.
Yeah.
But you're not in that category at the moment, so you're okay. So really, it's just where you want to go. Again, you don't want to get any leaner. you can look at kind of, if you really wanted to start boosting these percentiles in terms of your lean mass a little bit higher, for us to get incredibly picky in line with everything else in terms of these percentiles, right?
So a little bit more muscle.
A little bit, but then we looked at your skeletal and you're fine. So
maybe just hold it down, but add a little bit more body fat.
Yeah, maybe. So in terms of if we were putting like an LMI goal, right, which today we were at 20.4. Again, yeah. Great. So you wanted to get that to 21. This is something we can just mess around with. The thing with the LMI calculator is it's going to presume that you basically just want to build. Yeah. And it's just automatically going to put you in a 10% calorie surplus, which you could figure out by yourself. But in terms of if you wanted to hit that 21, for example, and then we can keep going up. That would take you 8 weeks. So only 2 months to hit that. In terms of a lean mass, that would put you at 70 kilos exactly, actually, which is a nice round number in terms of lean mass. And your final mass, if your fat level stayed the same, would be at 79, which would put you in a surplus of 341 calories per day, which means your total daily calorie target would be about 3,700.
That sounds unbelievable.
Sounds like a nice time, doesn't it?
That sounds unbelievable.
So again, the more we sort of mess around with this number, say you want to, you were like, okay, let's go for 22. It's not going to change the surplus we want to put you in, because we want it to be nice and sustainable. We don't want to be loading and putting on loads of fat mass. Again, you have a bit of wiggle room in that regard. So again, it's going to keep that the sort of same.
That's so good to know.
But it's just going to leave you at, okay, you're now, if you want it to be at that 22 LMI, you're going to be sat at around 82.8 kilos.
Oh, decent.
Okay, which again, for someone of your height is
standard.
That's
What am I now? 77 something, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think does it come up on you were 77.6.
Yeah. No,
okay.
Cool. So I can gain a couple kilos.
Yeah, exactly. Good. All good news.
All good news.
You're doing great, and you can eat more.
Yeah, perfect.
It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, it's kind of up to you what you kind of want to do. Again, if you want to come back in 6 months, we can sort of look at, that is basically what would be a 6-month goal.
Yeah.
And we can put that as that many weeks. We could put you at 24 weeks. So, again, you're very similar. Again, that's sort of looking at a perfect world, really, in terms of the fat you're maintaining.
I'm just looking at that big fat daily calorie target.
Exactly. Again, take that with a little bit of pinch of salt. We haven't done an RMR. And that's estimating from what can be a changing lifestyle and all that sort of stuff. You sound pretty consistent throughout your week in terms of the amount of activity you're doing. So you might not need to hit that every day. If you have a rest day, you might hit that when you're doing a really intense day. Obviously, looking at your carbs, protein, I'm sure you know, 2.2 grams for yourself per kilo of body mass. So yeah, really happy. We can send that through to you as well.
Amazing.
If you like.
Yeah. I'm going to send it to my coach and tell him what's going on. Get star pupil awards.
Yeah, again, and that's not a massive. Again, it's only 10%. So
it's mad. I don't think I've ever eaten 3,749 calories in my life.
From where you are, I wouldn't tomorrow.
No. Obviously, I'm
doubling.
Yeah. So I think obviously.
So go up through that. Sustainably.
So I think with the plan with him was anyway to go back to like a maintenance calories. Slowly, so I think I'm only going to be on these low calories probably until Monday, and then I think he's going to then
a little bit.
Start increasing 200 a day.
Don't go up to 3.4.
No, I wouldn't be able to stomach it. I'll probably end up throwing up and feeling absolutely. But like, it's good to know, because sometimes, especially when it comes to the running side of it, or even the weightlifting side of it, there's times when I have been. I think I always weigh myself in pounds. So the heaviest I've ever been is 191.
Okay.
But I think that's like 85 kilo.
Yeah.
Roughly, I think. I might be wrong.
How's it been like? 2.25, isn't it?
But I wouldn't say my V02 Max was probably up there. I was just heavy.
Well, that is obviously per milliliter per kilo.
Yeah.
So the heavier you are, that's essentially knocking that
down.
Squat, even though like your capacity is the same. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Something I've again.
To be fair though, even like when I just track food and I'm not on a diet or a bulk, shall we say, I always find like 2750 when I'm eating that is like my optimum, where I stay in a good lean and I'm like a few weeks out.
So again, that will probably, because you are so lean, put you a little bit. You'll creep up a little bit. I would expect it's natural. So maybe you don't need to go this high. You probably might want to just stay at sort of maintenance, really. But we'll send that through regardless.
I definitely like to see if I can.
You're clearly done enough more than intelligent enough to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I love data. Yeah. Like, I'm so data driven. So I'll sit and go through this letter by letter later on.
Lovely. And again, in terms of routine, great. Love to see 6 months those bones come up a little bit, but they're nothing to be concerned about.
In regards to that, those like vitamin D, more sleep.
Vitamin D3, K2, sleep quality. The more I know about sleep and the more I learn about sleep, it just dictates everything in your like your mood, your mental health, your fat burning, your muscle building, everything. Essentially, unfortunately, because it actually sometimes seems to be the most difficult thing, right?
Prior to getting towards the end of this diet, kind of all come at the worst time. Like I was taking ashwagandha. KSM 6 and that was really helping. It's the only time when I've done a diet.
How many milligrams you're on a day, or not?
Yeah, I do have the thing somewhere here. And it was the only time I felt like I did a...
Were you feeling more well rested when you?
Yeah, like even just I've never done a dieting phase or a holiday, and my sleep be so good until the end.
Yeah.
Like my sleep's normally the first thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm waking up like 6 o'clock in the morning, or like, and that, and then obviously I actually started to run out, and then I was like, shit, can we fix this? Here it is. It's got saffron extract in it as well. Let's have a look. Description, ingredients. 350 milligrams per capsule, and I was taking 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So
all good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So yeah, for that, just your bones, vitamin D3 and K2.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get in the spray. There's the different ones. They absorb a bit better, but it's
decent.
Yeah, and just that calcium. Really, do you have a lot of dairy?
Oh, amazing. I'm so happy.
Yeah, you
couldn't have gone better.
Yeah, exactly. And you've done your hit for the day.
Yeah.
So even better.
Yeah. Well, no, I've still got probably 25 minutes to do. God. I'll get on the stairs later. But thank you, mate. Appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome.
Right, so hopefully you can hear me over the noise that's going on here. There's some construction, but obviously you heard my results, and I am unbelievably happy with that. Like, I thought my V02 Max was going to be slightly lower because obviously I don't run as much as I used to. Obviously body fat being below 10% was more than I could have hoped for. It has left me in a bit of no man's land in regards to like what to do moving forward. Obviously I am going to bump my calories up and put on a touch of weight, going on holiday, etc. But I was going to focus on running and being fitter when I get back from my holiday, but it seems I'm in the top 1% anyway, so don't really know what to do there. I'll probably just go and try and smash some PBs just for my own records in regards to running. In regards to fitness, obviously you said about trying to increase my bone density, which can come from sleep, vitamin D, etc. So I take vitamin D, so maybe I'll just up that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. It is a lengthy one. I did want you guys to hear and see everything anyway. And yeah, go and follow them on Instagram. Great company, great guys. I'm like so happy, and I'm going to be back there in 6 months time to do it all again. So see what my figures are going to be like in 6 months time. Hope you like the vlog. And yeah, your boy's sub 10%, come on. And I'm in the top 1%. So I'm mad happy, man. Shout out mum and dad for the genetics as well. Love you, peace.